Welcome to episode 22 of Timm Talk, the podcast about the DC anime universe, co-created by Bruce Timm. I'm Chris Lord.
I'm Cameron Dexter.
And we got ourselves a back-to-back steaming pile of shit this week in terms of episodes.
Hey, hold on. The first episode, I went in having very, very low expectations for for these two episodes. The first one was better than I expected. It's not a steaming pile of shit. It's enjoyable, kind of.
It's like a cold, less fragrant pile of shit.
Yeah. It's like Taco Bell meat, kind of
Ooh.
shit.
Oh, God.
Sorry, I'm really hungry.
Oh, no.
The second episode, yes, was not
they're both
great.
They're both pretty bad. Also, after last week's Bat Plug, I'm just going to constantly call into question your taste in film and television.
That's fine. That's fine. 'Cause I'm going to make you watch that movie and realize how great it is.
Earlier today, for the listeners, I did promise that if I could watch it for free on my couch while drunk, I would.
Yeah, I'll get that set up. Because if anyone has seen it, it's great. I did have a nice conversation with one of our listeners last night about that movie.
Oh my God. Well, and you texted me too about the Weekly Planet, which I realize we've actually never brought that up before.
Oh, right. It's basically what we base our whole setup on.
It's like a little micro-prog almost. Like, yeah, they were a huge inspiration for us, and I fucking love their podcast. But yeah, I had not seen Triple X Return of Xander Cage, and I listened to their episode as they were talking about it. And you had, so you must have appreciated it that much more.
Oh, it's so good. I want to see it again after listening to them talk about it.
I love that even when you say the word good, you know that it's like a...
Oh, I know.
But it's like a weird definition of good.
But, I mean, it's our initial friendship was based off of a bad movie. Like, we all started hanging out because of Bloodsport.
Oh, Bloodsport. But like that, yeah.
I've said it before. It's kind of at that level of bad where it's just like... I feel like we haven't had a bad, good, just stupid action film in a while.
Oh, that's true.
Like, even the Fast and Furious movies are now getting story points. They are crazy and stupid, but they're still a story.
2.5 fucking hours.
Yeah,
at this point.
The new Triple X was just like, it was just mindless violence for an hour and a half with what's the old trailer quote? It's like you do a shot of a car, a shot of a hot girl, and a shot of action. Oh, and you loop those three over and over again, and that's a trailer. If you watch any James Bond trailer, it follows that cycle to a T.
I have to admit it does. Yeah.
Any minus like TMNT, most Michael Bay films will have that kind of setup.
Oh my God, yeah.
All of the Fast and Furious movies will have that setup. Most action films kind of base themselves on those 3 points, and this is one that just like fully embraces it again.
I'll watch it at some point. One of these weekends I'll sit and I'll watch it, and I'll report back on the podcast if I haven't killed myself.
But going back to Batman,
Oh, and actually, segue. Speaking of Batman and shitty movies,
okay.
We don't often talk about like Batman news, but this was a pretty big bit of news. And by the time this comes out, it'll be a little bit behind. But Ben Affleck no longer directing the Batman. How do you feel about that? Like, are you?
Well, also knowing because also this week we have a second director drop out of Flash.
Oh,
I guess third director drop out of Flash.
I think so. Yeah, and it's got a full rewrite.
Yeah, page 1 rewrite, which is crazy.
It's almost like
it's not the writer's fault.
It's almost like the real creatives that keep getting brought in don't want to have to deal with all of DC's bullshit.
Right.
And it's almost like they're just casting actors and picking movies and putting them on their slates before they know what they're doing with them.
Yeah, I mean, that's why also earlier this week we had like rumors for the Green Lantern casting again.
Oh, yeah.
They announced the 2020 slot is where we're going to get Green Lantern.
And, I am excited for that. I've never seen the Green Lantern movie.
Good.
Yeah, I've heard it's pretty bad.
It's hard for me to say, because Green Lantern, for the viewers who don't know this, is my favorite superhero.
He's great. He's awesome.
Kyle Rayner of the Green Lantern Corps is my favorite.
Yeah.
And it's hard. It's very hard to justify with how the Green Lantern's been portrayed in both the film and the the animated series was good, but people couldn't get past the experimental art style, which I'm going to say because it's just bad art.
Oh,
it was bad 3D animation.
I forgot about that. It was like Emerald Knight was the direct.
No, not there was First Flight and Emerald Knight were the two direct to DVD films, which were good.
Yeah, I've seen those. Those are pretty good.
It was Green Lantern the animated series.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, it was a weird
2011 or 2012
because it was kind of the same animated style as the Beware the Batman, right? Which like that's weird CG.
No, well, Beware the Batman is 2D still. It's just very angular.
Wait, not the Brave and the Bold. Beware the Batman, the one where it's like him and I think Katana instead of Robin.
Am I wrong about that? I never watched Beware the Batman.
I never did either. It was 3D.
Oh, then yeah, it's probably
I think it's that same
style.
weird kind of like style to it.
But yeah, most people didn't like that show. It took me a while to get into it just because I was so against the art style that I had to look past it. And once I finally saw the show, I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I mean, I like him a lot too. I mean, some of my favorite books, he's pretty central to them. Like New Frontier is one of my all-time favorites, and I mean, he's basically the main character. So I'm excited for them to do a good movie, but at this point, I no longer expect any of these DC movies to be good. But what I did think was interesting about that is Ryan Reynolds was on the list.
I know.
And it's like, I don't know. I mean, it's just a rumor, right? So it's hard to tell how accurate that is. But it's like, would they be doing a soft reboot with the same
I doubt it. I feel like it'd just be Deadpool over again, where they might stab a joke at it, but never actually talk about it.
Yeah, I don't, because that's a hard. You can do that with Deadpool because he is a meta character. Be really, I'm sure they would try something and be very clunky. And I like him a lot. I would almost rather see someone else come in and do Hal Jordan. I don't remember all the other names that were on the list.
The other names were odd. There was one name that stood out for me that I think would be pretty good.
I think Bradley Cooper was on
Bradley
there.
Cooper was on the list. Tom Cruise is on the list.
Nah.
I think he's just too old.
Yeah.
Bradley Cooper, I think, would be good, but I think he's just too serious now. Like, I would love, Hangover Bradley Cooper to come in.
Yeah.
But I think now he's become too much of this serious actor, and if we continue on this path of DC universe, then they're going to want him to stay that.
Yeah, I'm trying to see if I can...
The name that stood out to me...
The list back up here.
The one that I remember that really popped out was James Marsden.
Oh, yes. Yes, I would love for him.
Because, he's tired of Cyclops at this point.
Yeah, and the thing is, he's great in everything. He didn't get much to do in the X-Men movies. He's good in those. Obviously, he's awesome in Westworld.
Yeah, I think because of his resurgence of Westworld. Because before that, he kind of dabbled in the rom-com area. I mean, 27 Dresses is one of my favorite rom-coms.
And isn't he in Enchanted?
Yes.
Yeah, he's good in that.
Yeah, but that was 2004.
Holy shit, was that really that long ago? Oh my god.
4 or 6. Don't quote me on that one.
Armie Hammer's on the list too. He could be kind of good.
Yeah. I would see him as a better Guy Gardner.
Okay,
just be sure, straight up asshole.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, some of these could be interesting. The whole thing is, it's like this, it's all collapsing, right? I mean, I actually think, kind of back where we started, it's good that Affleck's not directing the movie in a weird way. I mean, he is a great director. Admittedly, I've only seen Argo. I haven't seen his other 3 movies.
I'm the same way.
Yeah, and Live by Night apparently is not that good, which is his most recent one. But even when that was kind of announced, I was surprised. Like, you think about how much work goes into making one of these. To be the lead actor in it, and also be a writer on it, and also be a director on it, that is an impossible task.
Well, that's why it took him, 2 years to make that movie? Which is usually the timeline for a CG-heavy film.
Yeah.
Like, this was... I haven't seen it, so I don't think there's much CG because this is kind of a timepiece.
Oh, Live by Night.
Yeah,
it's a period piece. But I mean, because he kind of got delayed making it because of the Batman vs Superman, and I have a list here of some of the people they're talking about bringing in. Cool names. So George Miller, who did all the Mad Max movies, including the most recent one, and his name's been thrown around for a Superman sequel too. He could be good. Gavin O'Connor, who did The Accountant, which I haven't seen, but you have.
It was fine.
Okay, yeah. He did Miracle, which I really like, and then also Warrior, which I haven't seen. But apparently that's
the MMA movie?
Yeah.
Oh, that was great.
I've heard it's really good.
Oh, it's great. I was very skeptical about that film, which doesn't make sense because Never Back Down was upsettingly one of my favorite movies in high school. If you could tell from my high school catalog that I lived in a very boxed in entertainment world, where I would cycle between Fast and Furious, Tokyo Drift, Never Back Down, and Fired Up, kind of on a weekly basis.
I feel like it's now my responsibility to show you good movies.
I'm getting there.
Like, have you seen Casablanca?
I have. Yeah,
Okay,
I
good.
saw it last Christmas.
Okay, if you didn't like it, pretend you did.
I did. I enjoyed it.
It's my favorite movie.
I know.
So I gotta show you more good movies.
Well, kind of. So sorry to the audience. We're stretching this out because there's nothing to talk about in these two episodes.
Yeah. I have so little to say to these other episodes. We're talking all kinds of other shit instead.
I have one final question before we jump into the episode talk. For the Green Lantern, because it's Green Lantern Corps.
Yeah.
So they have the option of choosing not Hal Jordan. Mm-hmm. Would you rather have an experienced Green Lantern come in, basically be like an older Hal, which is why I think Tom Cruise and Bradley Cooper are on that list,
which
I unfortunately think is the way they're going to go? Or would you rather them kind of start either with like a Jon Stewart or a Kyle Rayner? Either Kyle Rayner would probably be a story of him getting his ring and dealing with it.
Yeah.
Jon Stewart, you can also kind of do the older, more experienced person. But I think for the majority of people who don't read comics, because I have this conversation a lot with people, when I mention Green Lantern and Hal Jordan, they immediately think of Jon Stewart because of the Justice League animated show.
Yeah, I think because what the rumor that keeps flying around is that it's going to be kind of like a buddy cop style movie, that we're going to get two of them, and I think we can assume one of them will probably be Jon Stewart, and then the other one, I might guess it'll probably be Hal Jordan, just because I know in the comics too, they've kind of brought him back in. He's kind of got the most famous backstory. I like the idea of having two of them, but I think what's going to happen with that is you're going to have one of them be like the older, more experienced one, and then the other person's going to get the ring. And so we are never going to get, I think, another origin story.
I just thought of it. What do you think of Channing Tatum?
I love Channing Tatum.
Do you think he could pull off a superhero? Because I was listening to a conversation about trying to cast Shazam. Since now, I don't know if you heard, Black Adam is getting his own movie because The Rock.
Just because it's Dwayne Johnson, which I think is absolutely ridiculous.
I know, and they were trying to think who could even be at equal levels.
I think.
Because you can't have Kevin Hart be
No, you can't. No, I just think Weekly Plan, I think, was also talking about this too.
Yeah.
Who do you cast in that role? Because they have to have kind of that boyish charm. I love Channing Tatum. He can do more serious stuff. And I mean, he can do like I think more kind of serious-ish action. I haven't seen White House Down, which I actually heard was the better of the two White House Die Hard movies.
Yeah, I enjoyed that one. Yeah.
I don't know if. I like him a lot. I would love to see him do a superhero role. I mean, obviously, he's supposed to be Gambit. I would love to see him do a DC role.
I'd like to see him do one that's not an accent.
Yeah. Oh my God. Absolutely. I don't know if he could do Shazam though. John Hamm, I think, could be fun. Yeah. I think the problem is everyone knows him as being so serious from Mad Men that I don't know.
I feel like he's slowly breaking out of that shell.
If you take the John Hamm that we see on 30 Rock and put him in a Shazam costume, he could absolutely do it. And he could go toe-to-toe with Dwayne Johnson and probably not have it ridiculous. If there's any one DC movie I'm kind of excited for, it might be that one.
Yeah.
It might be the Shazam movie, not the Black Adam solo movie, which we don't need.
I mean, we don't know anything about it yet, so I don't want to... I mean, I say this, I don't want to be too harsh, but
we know we don't need it. Though.
I am trying my best to keep an open mind, and it's just continued to hurt me, but that's fine.
I at this point, I expect them to be bad. The only reason I will go see Wonder Woman is because it is the most expensive movie yet made with a female director and a female protagonist, and for that reason alone, I want to go support it because I want more movies like that. But it's also completely fighting my urge as a DC fan to not give money to these fucking people.
Yeah.
Oh,
so should we start?
Should we start? Yeah.
We'll try and set like a time code thing for the people who don't want to listen to this.
I put time codes in every episode.
Oh, good.
Yeah, so you can just skip forward if you don't.
You don't want to listen to us try and talk.
Yeah. News. I also decided to mix it up this week. I didn't take my usual detailed story notes. So I'm going to remember these as best I can.
Okay.
I did watch them today, so it shouldn't be too hard. Let's see if I can remember how this one starts. It starts at the zoo. if I recall.
Yes.
There's a guy, I forget his name.
Do you just want me to do this?
I can do it. I think his name's Hank. I'm going to call him Hank. He's walking around the zoo, and Selena Kyle's there, and she sees a tiger, and she gets shot with a knockout dart by a ape man.
Quick question.
Yes.
Did you think that was an ape at any point in the episode?
Like just a straight up ape?
No, like an ape-human hybrid.
No, because everything else is cats. I was kind of confused why we have an ape.
Well, even
human.
when we just see him, because the first time you see him, you see the gray hand.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, Killer Croc is in this. That's cool.
Oh, okay.
And then you see him land, and he kind of walks. He doesn't have a gorilla walk.
No, it's like it's a sort of a semi-ish gorilla walk.
Yeah, and I even wrote down like, oh, he's a bear.
Oh, he does get on like a bear, actually. Yeah.
And then finally, they meet up with the creator.
Yeah.
Who ends up saying that he's a gorilla, and I'm like, that wasn't even my top 3 choices.
No, it was pretty bizarre.
I think both of these episodes were animated by ACOM, and the second one especially, it showed. I have a lot to say about that.
Yeah, the animation.
The first one,
wasn't
it still wasn't great.
No, it wasn't. So, but yeah, she gets shot in the ass with the knockout dart. She was supposed to meet Bruce for dinner. She doesn't show up, so he goes to the zoo. Discovers the dart lying on the floor and realizes, oh, maybe she's been kidnapped. And then she's been taken off to basically the island of Dr. Moreau, because that's what this whole episode is basically based around.
Yeah.
What's the guy's?
Dr. Emil Dorian.
Dr. Dorian, that's right. Yeah.
Also, for any Kim Possible fans, because I brought this up a few times, there's an episode which mirrors this almost to a T.
Oh, really?
Of Kim Possible. It was one of the early episodes. The villain's name is Dee and Amy.
Oh, yeah.
Who, instead of making human-animal hybrids...
I'm looking this up.
That's fine. She makes kind of human and 2 animal hybrids. Or she makes 2 animal hybrids, because in that world, there's their version of Beanie Babies is kind of 2 animals fused together.
Oh, Dee and Amy.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right.
She has
like the otter with the butterfly wings,
right,
as they're like
an otterfly. This was not shot for shot, but story, like if you follow the story points of this episode, it matches up pretty much to a T with the Dee and Amy episode, which I really enjoyed.
I could absolutely.
I think that's why I enjoyed this episode more, is because I just kept thinking of the other.
Oh my god, there's a rhino rabbit looking thing. I also love that when I looked up Dee and Amy, clearly someone was doing fan casting, because there's a picture of Melissa McCarthy from Bridesmaids amongst the photos. I could totally see that working if they ever did a live action.
I don't know how I'd feel about that.
A live action Kim Possible?
I don't know how I'd feel about that.
Okay, that's fair. Yeah, because I don't know if they really do it justice, and it's so good on its own. Where were we in this episode?
We meet Emil Dorian. He's basically the predecessor of the crazy cat lady stereotype, which I didn't realize hadn't been implemented yet in media.
The crazy cat lady?
Yeah.
Where did it come from somewhere?
From what I could find, the first over exaggeration of that was Simpsons, 1998. Was when they introduced their crazy cat lady.
Oh, the literal woman walking on the street throwing cats at people.
Yeah.
That's kind of a trope, though, right?
I thought it was, but I couldn't find any other reference before then.
Oh.
There was reference in, books.
Okay.
And I guess throughout history, people who, I don't remember what they're called.
Historians.
No. It's a woman who waited too long to marry.
Spinster?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, I was going to say shrew. That's wrong. Spinster.
In the late 1800s, it became common for spinsters to adopt cats for some odd reason. I think that kind of started the trend, and then it wasn't until 70s they mentioned it in a couple books how these single women would adopt a bunch of animals to kind of fill the hole in their heart.
Yeah.
And then in the 90s is when it just kind of blew up.
That became a thing.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So I
did a lot of just unnecessary side research for this episode.
No, that's fine. I just remember something I meant to research earlier that I was researching now as I'm talking to you that has no relevance at all to this episode, but we're going to talk about it later.
So we're introduced to Dr. Dorian.
Yeah.
And while that's happening, Batman makes an appearance at an old villain we hadn't seen in a while.
Yeah,
I was excited that he came back.
I do have some notes. One of them is just Langstrom.
Yes, Man-Bat returns.
Yeah.
And is very helpful. He basically says there's another doctor who's been experimenting with kind of human animal splicing.
Yeah, and he's got that. What is it? It's like a cat.
It's a monkey cat.
It's a monkey. Yeah, it's weird.
Yes. So from Man-Bat, we learned that Dr. Dorian has a cat obsession.
Yeah,
he believes they're the perfect species.
Which I think it's interesting that he loves cats, but he's doing all of his experiments on them.
Yeah. Well. Yeah.
I don't know.
Except the gorilla.
Except for the one. There's one gorilla. Everything else is cats, like flying cats. Yeah. And
I think that was just like his experiment on humans.
I guess
we see cats fused with a bunch of other animals.
So with it was Garth or something was the name of the ape. Was that a person who he like gave gorilla like DNA to?
Yes, I assume so.
Okay, but then
my reasoning behind that is if it went wrong, he didn't want to hurt a cat.
I guess because then Tigress, which the whole episode revolves around, this genetically engineered cat man. Yeah, did he build that from scratch?
Yes.
Okay.
So I was very curious about that because they briefly go over it. There's no human DNA in him, or it's not based off a human.
Yeah, there wasn't so basically what he does is he kidnaps Selena to then turn her into a cat lady to be a companion / mate for Tigress. But the difference is she is converted from being a human. He is just genetically engineered from the ground up, right?
Right. Yeah.
Okay. So
there's a lot to cover.
There's a lot. I forget. I don't know. I don't remember how Batman figures out this is where. Oh no, he goes to Langstrom. Which one? That's cool that one they brought him back. But two, again, he's not quite a villain, right? Like he's a victim of circumstance, and he's still doing his job, still living kind of a normal life. And Batman goes to him for help, which I thought was just a cool little turn.
Yeah.
But what I did love is in this episode, the Bat-Glider is finally used the way we've always wanted to be used because he takes the Bat-Wing out to the island.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
I'm just going to keep calling it the island of Dr. Moreau.
That's fine.
And he jettisons out of it and glides in the Bat-Glider. Finally,
we have a justified reason of using that thing.
That was one of my main notes in this whole thing was just the glider. But he gets there.
Catwoman is now part cheetah.
Yeah. Well, I guess she's blonde, so she would grow blonde hair.
I guess. I just assumed it was cheetah DNA because she was more. I mean, her initial figure was more slender.
That's true.
But it gave me the idea of a cheetah more than any other. And it's just like cat. It was a very broad term. Even though the episode's called Tiger. No, it's two, right?
It's Tiger. It's based off of the poem.
Which I did way too much research trying to find a meaning to relate to this episode. I finally got one, which I'll get to the end.
Okay.
So Batman and Dr. Dorian kind of face off. Mm-hmm. We meet Tigress, who's, like we said before, is this kind of perfected cat-human thing.
It's like, Frankenstein, but a cat.
Yeah, this was very much a Frankenstein story.
Yeah.
And so they go and fight, and then this next 10 minutes are very jumbled.
Nothing really happens, right?
They fight once, Batman loses, and No, it's the next episode. God,
they're very similar. But basically, Dorian sends Batman out into the wilderness of the island, and, like, Tigress is going to hunt you down, and if you can defeat him...
You get the antidote.
Yeah, for Selena, and if not, he's going to kill you and eat you?
Yeah.
I assume?
Because Tigress has just kind of been pre-programmed to hate Batman.
Yeah, and so they do get in a tussle, and Batman ends up tying him up to a tree, and he goes back for Catwoman, or for Selena, who is sympathetic to Tigress.
Yes.
It is Tigress, right?
Yeah.
I didn't even write that down.
Yeah, Tigress.
Okay. Like, kind of sympathetic, understands that, like Frankenstein's monster, it's not really his fault that he was...
Right, it was his upbringing.
...created. What happens? He goes...
So Selena Kyle escapes, and
that's right.
Tigress is about to basically slash through Batman, she stops him.
Oh,
she says, you don't have to follow orders of your father.
Yeah.
You're kind of your own creature. Do what you want to do. You know this is wrong. They come in. They meet up with Dorian again. Dorian is about to shoot Selena for some reason.
Oh, yeah. He's got like a shotgun. He's just going to...
And then Tigress, Frankenstein just goes crazy. Sorry, Frankenstein's monster.
Yeah.
You learn the real monster isn't Frankenstein all along.
I've been trying to create a portmanteau that involves cats and Frankensteins, and I can't do it.
So in typical Batman fashion, Tigress blows up the whole building.
Little spontaneous combustion this time. Like, stuff spills onto the floor and it just ignites. We don't even
then
see
there was
what
a barrel.
ignites it.
There was a legit barrel that said
Yeah.
explosive on the side.
The whole place just goes up in flames.
Batman and Selena get out first. They assume Dorian, the gorilla, and Tigress are dead.
No, they drag the gorilla out.
Oh, right.
But they try to, like, Tigress is causing all this. They think, the Tigress and Dorian are trapped inside.
Yeah. They finally make it out. Tigress gives Catwoman the antidote, and he's like, I don't belong in the human world or the wild. I have to find my own kind of thing. Then fades off into the distance.
Yep.
The end.
That's it.
And then it ends with the William Blake poem.
Yeah.
Which I wrote down because I
did as well. Yeah.
Tiger, tiger, burning bright in the forest of the night. What immortal hand or eye could frame thy fearful symmetry? And I assume was trying to be symmetry.
Yeah, I know it doesn't work
because I read the rest of the poem.
Yeah,
and it's all AABB.
Okay,
set up.
And then
is there a proper name for that? I haven't had a poetry class in a long time.
It's not iambic pentameter, is it?
No, that's every other.
Okay, I don't know. I don't know poetry at all.
Well, iambic pentameter it's 5 up downs.
Oh, okay.
And in one kind of phrase.
I don't know. There's iambic pentameter. There's haikus. I don't know any of them.
Haiku is the either 353 or 575.
Okay,
I remember that one.
There you go. I recognize
There's a whole Avatar sketch about it.
Of course there is. I recognize the phrase "fearful symmetry." Like, where have I seen that before? It's actually the name of a JLU episode later on.
Okay.
I don't remember what the episode's about. I could look it up. Apparently, it's also the name of the 5th issue of Watchmen, which I think is the Rorschach flashback.
Oh, ooh, that's a good one.
That is a really good one. Yeah. But yeah, I didn't know what. I think you did more kind of look at the deeper meaning of it than I did.
It took me a long time to try and figure this out, but from what I interpreted it as, it refers to Tigress, who represents kind of the perfect fearful symmetry of both man and beast.
Oh, okay.
With the kind of immortal hand or eye, and the initial poem referring to God. And in this situation, it refers to Dr. Dorian, who's kind of playing God, creating his own beast that he sees as this perfect being. Mm-hmm. And it was kind of because every other you can argue that Batman and Catwoman and any other kind of caped crusader is kind of their own form of perfect symmetry.
Yeah, but duality.
But they have the ability to turn it off, like. If they don't want to be a beast anymore, Batman just has to take his hood off. Catwoman just has to put on her civilian clothes.
Yeah.
And they're now human.
Yeah, but Tigress cannot.
Right. And that also brings up an interesting point of, like, the fearsome villains, because kind of going over, like, the fearsome side of it. Mm-hmm. In this show, the ones that we see are the scariest are the ones that have fully transformed into something else. You have Killer Croc, who obviously hasn't had a good representation yet.
Yeah.
But I assume he's going to come back at some point.
He does.
Okay.
Yeah.
Clayface.
Yeah.
See the full transformation.
You could even throw, I mean, it's not a transformation in the traditional sense, but you could even throw in, like, Two-Face and the Joker, too.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, Two-Face is still not...
That's true. I guess
he's still
kind of halfway there. But it's certainly like the Joker, which is like, he no longer resembles whatever he was before he became the Joker.
Right. So. Yeah, he's now in pure chaos.
Yeah. That's some interesting stuff. I hadn't thought about that.
It took me a good hour to just
try
because I read through the whole poem and then I went like line by line to try and decipher it. And for anyone who's like wants to look into poetry, this one makes no fucking sense.
Yeah,
this first stanza is the one that makes the most sense.
Yeah, it kind of like it's good, and then for me it just like tips off. I'm like, what the fuck just happened?
Yeah,
it does seem fitting too because I just looked up fearful symmetry. In JLU is the episode with Galatea. Do you remember that one? Which is Supergirl's clone.
Oh, yeah.
So it's basically the DCAU's version of Power Girl.
Yeah.
But, I mean, that fits, right? Because it's like they... Without going into the whole details of the episode, whoever's listening, if you remember it, it does actually fit quite well with the poem.
Yeah.
Kind of similar to this episode, too, actually. There's some
and then my kind of off-topic-ish question is, if you could fuse with one animal... What animal would you choose?
God, the first thing that popped in my head was a sea otter because they're just goddamn adorable. I mean, there's no practicality to that whatsoever.
Float on your back better.
I could float on my back. I could just eat food off my stomach,
Yeah.
which I can't do now.
Oh, it's both delightful and shaming. When it's those like last 3 bites of Chipotle, and you realize like you can just set the bag of chips on your stomach now, it's a little shaming.
That was amazing. There you go. I want to feel that awesomeness and that
All
shame.
right,
I'm going to go with the sea otter.
I'm trying to think what mine would be.
Jesus.
I actually didn't think about it.
You didn't think about it?
I didn't. I thought of the question, and that was it.
It's a good question.
Because I wouldn't want anything. I wouldn't want anything with feathers.
No.
It'd be too weird.
No.
I don't know.
A manatee.
A manatee, no. If I was going to go with any aquatic creature, it'd be a penguin, just because.
Oh, always wearing a tuxedo.
Yeah,
it's a solid choice right there.
I'll stick. I mean, penguin's always my go-to answer for everything.
Okay,
I'll stick with the rockhopper penguin.
Ooh, that's a good penguin.
Yeah,
that's one that's got the yellow.
No,
right?
that's emperor.
No, like the yellow on the head. Like the yellow feathers.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, I think that's a rockhopper.
No,
well, rockhoppers are the ones that live in the Galapagos.
Yeah, so many things I'm looking up in this episode.
This being the most topical one.
Yeah, it is. They got the like the feathers kind of coming off their face.
What is it? The late 90s, early 2000s, like spiked tips.
Frosted tips.
Thank you. Frosted
tips.
Tips.
The penguin with frosted tips. That's what Cameron's going for.
I'm just going to bring it back.
Yeah. Can you?
I'm going to bring it back.
Can you please?
It's going to happen.
I feel like now I have to come up with a good reason for you to do frosted tips.
I would never. I've never dyed my hair before, and I would never.
I haven't either, but I would be highly amused to see you do it. I only have one other little note on this episode, something I thought you would appreciate. So, Mark Singer, the actor who voices...
I wrote this one down.
You know, we wrote this. He voices Langstrom. Cameron, what other movie was he in?
Oh, I wrote the other thing down.
Oh, I wrote down that he was in Eagle Eye.
Oh, I didn't know that. I wrote down that... Do you know who he's related to?
Is it not Bryan Singer?
It is.
It really?
They're cousins, yeah.
Oh, that sucks for Mark Singer, man.
A little bit.
Yeah. But I don't have anything else for this episode, do you?
No.
Okay.
I tried to be as philosophical as I could. We got the nice Kim Possible references.
It was good. No, it was references galore.
Like I said, it's better than I expected it to be.
It was fine. I was like okay with it, I guess. Mm-hmm. Real quick, I'm probably going to cut in the promo now.
All right.
Did you ever want to know about this?
Did you ever want to know about that?
Well, now you can know about this and that with This on That.
I'm Chad Foglin.
And I'm Mike Solari, and we're going to bring along a lot of funny people for you to enjoy.
Celebrity guests.
Musicians.
People who are just weirdos.
The guy outside.
Our friends.
And that's it.
And they talk about whatever topic they want to talk about, and we join in. So listen to an episode. It's free.
On iTunes.
It's on the Nerdist School Network.
You guys just got promoed, and so now
You guys should go check that out.
I think it's Hellmouthy.
Oh, that's a good
week.
one.
It is good, yeah. I when we talked about doing this podcast, I listened to an episode of theirs because they kind of do the same thing, but for Buffy and Angel, and they're great. So
yeah,
I
do
actually
a lot of our Nerdist friends, which will probably end up doing some kind of guest appearance on here someday.
At some point. Yeah. Well, again, last week I mentioned Kelly, who worked on Hear Me Out with me, and then she does Hellmouthy.
Right, yeah.
It's great. But yeah, I think that's it this week. I'm gonna be really embarrassed if it's not.
That's fine. We just gave him a nice plug.
That's true. Yeah,
we got 2 commercials, guys.
So many plugs in here. So now we're on to Moon of the Wolf,
which I was very upset because I thought this was the sequel to the last Ninja episode.
Oh, that's the next one.
That's the next episode.
It's coming up
I
next.
just remember it being something about like moon or sun.
It's Day of the
Samurai.
Day of the Samurai. Yeah,
and I was like, oh, the ninja's gonna turn into a werewolf.
Yeah, no,
this is everything that I want.
This is basically just like a crappy 80s movie in an episode format, which we realized right off the bat with the theme music, which is that kind of like wah, wah, sort of like
this. Did you look up what this is based off a comic? Did you?
Yeah, it's Len Wein who he created like Wolverine and Swamp Thing and apparently Lucius Fox, which I didn't realize.
I didn't know that. That's cool.
Yeah, but it's literally based. It's like the I think he's the only credited writer on this, actually.
Yeah, so he wrote this episode and also wrote the original comic that it was based off of in 1974.
Oh my god!
And he didn't change a damn thing.
No,
and that's why this episode is so bad.
I read through the description of the comic. It's the exact same as this.
Yeah, and also ACOM doing one of their worst performances.
It's pretty atrocious. Yeah,
even the opening scene, because it opens with, I thought it was a security guard, is actually a zoo. I guess he is. He's a zookeeper guard.
So this is why I got confused, because both episodes open in a zoo or in a park or whatever with a zoo employee.
Yeah. So this one is...
I think this is the guy who's like Hank or whatever.
Yeah. He's walking his dog, and the dog is like freaking out because he knows something is around. And kind of from a tunnel, you see a woman run by.
Jog out.
Yeah. And the way they drew her was so atrocious. I was sure she was the monster and like was just about to transform into something.
It's really bad.
But then we learned there's a werewolf, so we're gonna try and speed through this one as much as possible.
Yeah, there's a werewolf. The fight ensues. The dog gets thrown off, gets caught by a tree, which then we realize that we have 2 back-to-back episodes of characters getting caught in trees.
Yep.
And
we learned the werewolf is trying to kill the zookeeper.
Exactly.
Batman comes in, saves him.
Yeah,
thinks the thing that upset me the most about this episode is Batman thinks this is just a guy in a mask.
Yeah.
It's very Scooby-Doo-esque.
Well, and the whole thing is kind of weird because it's a real werewolf, and when people learn that, they don't react like, oh shit, it's a werewolf. Like, that's a strange thing.
No one believes it, which is crazy thinking, last week, I guess earlier this podcast, we talked about a whole villain based around mutating humans into animals.
Yeah.
And he has Man-Bat as one of his main villains in this world.
Yeah, but he thinks this guy is a dude in a suit.
Because there was no change of the 70s comic.
Yeah, I guess
and that's what's so infuriating.
Yeah, so the werewolf gets away.
We learn the werewolf is this former Olympian.
Oh, was it Arthur Romulus?
Yes.
We go to the gym where Bruce is working out with this guy, and it looks like the middle of a Suzanne Summers workout video.
Yeah.
It's the 90s. And I guess to set a trap for Batman,
Romulus says he's going to donate $1 million to this charity, and if Batman comes to receive the check, he'll double it.
In person, yeah, which that felt very much like something out of the 60s. Like, when he set that up, I thought it was going to be like some big gala event that Batman shows up to, because that was a complete trope of the 60s stuff. It's like,
right,
Batman shows up to this ball, and everyone's having a good time. Mm-hmm. But no, he just goes to the guy's house and gets knocked out. So we kind of learned the backstory of Romulus. He was a Olympic athlete who wanted to basically get steroids, so he goes to Dr. Milo, who was in cat scratch fever, as the guy who created the virus.
I was trying so hard to figure out who he was.
Yeah, so he makes a reappearance here. And okay, it didn't help that I immediately fell asleep at this point in the episode.
That's fine. It's very...
But because there's a flashback, and then... So Dr. Milo is recanting the story of...
Well, so this is another thing that bugged me. Sorry, I just wrote down all the things that bugged me with this episode. So most of the flashback, they're talking... Or, like, obviously, what's the doctor's name?
Dr. Milo.
Milo is talking about it in flashback, but also Romulus is talking to people in the flashback.
Yeah.
And there's a part where Romulus, like, throws Milo down some stairs, and you start hearing him talk again, and the mouth isn't moving. And I was so frustrated with ACOM, because I thought they just, like, didn't animate the mouth.
Yeah.
And then I realized it was the flashback talking again.
But it's so confusing, because, like, even... He's explained the flashback, and they show him, like, so basically he took these drugs, so he was awesome, and he won the decathlon.
Part steroid and part Alaskan timberwolf.
Yeah, it's got like wolf estrogen in it, whatever. But what I love is, so they, he got famous, he did all these like promo ads and stuff, and so they show him what we think is supposed to be like a flashback of him in a promo ad, like eating Wheaties, basically, but then it shows a living room where they're watching it, so I'm like, wait a minute, is this a video flashback
it's a flashback in a flashback?
But it's like they're showing the video, which is a kind of a flashback in a scene which plays out in real time, like it's like normal time.
Right.
Again, I had just woken up and I was catching up and I was a little confused. But the whole thing is a super weird flashback, and it's really hard to follow.
Yeah.
But what I love about that is it's after that, or in that flashback, Milo explains to him, like, oh yeah, you have lycanthropy, which is being a werewolf.
Yeah.
And that's just a normal thing in this world, apparently.
Right. But there's no cure. So instead, I have to make you a super werewolf.
Yeah, if you have
because I can cure that for some reason.
If you have like entry level werewolfism, it's not curable. But if you have advanced, all of a sudden it is.
Yeah,
and he falls for it and he takes his medicine or whatever, takes his drug and turns into a werewolf.
Yeah, full on werewolf. Before he was just a furry.
Exactly. Yeah. But he looks the same.
No, before he was hairy.
That's right. Sorry. His appearance here is the same as his appearance at the beginning when he's full on werewolf. But yes, you're right.
Yes, before he takes the super werewolf serum.
Yeah, he was like Teen Wolf level.
Yeah, he looks like he would have belonged in the Tiger episode.
Yes, exactly.
He was just covered in a base level fur, and now then, he's a full on.
They're at some sort of construction site, I guess, and Batman is chained up out in the middle of it.
Who is that? Never mind. Sorry.
Okay.
There's another character that is based off of this werewolf design, and I was trying to remember what it was from.
Okay. Yeah, but so Batman's chained up out there, and Milo loses control of the werewolf and basically gets like knocked out by debris or whatever. The werewolf goes down to fight Batman, where did that lockpick come from? Because there's a lockpick next to his hands.
I have a quick question for you. Did you see where they are? Because there was a sign at the beginning. They're building a fucking Gotham Coliseum. Like, the city doesn't, has enough money to afford a fucking Coliseum. Just in the middle of whatever.
I mean, probably Bruce is building it.
I don't think so, because he would have, I have no idea.
But you're right. It is a massive Coliseum. I guess they're really trying to push the Roman thing.
What? Cool.
I don't know.
Well, Romulus was a decathlon athlete.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Wouldn't he have competed in a giant? He did compete in I guess that was more like a dome sort of thing.
I assume that was just at the Olympics.
Fuck, I don't even know.
So there's a big fight between.
But real quick, where the fuck did that lockpick come from? Because I thought again, these episodes blend together because they're so goddamn similar. I thought Romulus took Batman's belt away from him.
He did, and then it reappeared. But I assume it was like from the debris falling. It might have flew over.
I guess it was because it. Well, I guess what's confusing is because it's clearly a lockpick because it's got a weird shape to it. If they're like a nail or something, I could believe it. But there's conveniently just a lockpick lying on the ground, so Batman gets free, and they fight.
There's a whole Bullock part of the episode that we're not going to talk about.
Oh yeah,
but the cops show up in record time. By the way, the cops have never gotten anywhere as fast,
especially
as they
not
did.
Bullock.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Batman and the werewolf are fighting on top of a crane, and Bullock's like, let them fight it out.
Yeah, don't shoot. They'll
Don't
figure it out.
Yeah, would you think when he says don't shoot, maybe he's protecting Batman.
He just wants to see Batman lose.
He's just lazy.
Yeah.
He's letting them fight up there. They get up on top of a wrecking ball. Batman basically swings it into the werewolf, and he goes off. And I forgot that it was stormy in this episode until lightning strikes
Oh, that's right.
the crane and zaps the werewolf, and he falls into the water.
Yeah. And then that was kind of it.
Yeah.
The ending scene is they're selling Romulus's house, and whatever happened to this guy? He was pretty famous. I don't know. He just up and disappeared one day.
Yeah.
And then it ended.
Yeah, and it's we don't know what happened to him. Then it cuts, and it's him doing howling into the moon.
Yeah.
I guess. I've read some of the comics, some of the Batman Adventure comics. I guess there's one that actually has all the characters in these two episodes together. So it's Man-Bat, Dorian, Tigress, and the werewolf are all end up in some
that would make sense
thing together. I got to go actually track down all those and read them because I think it'd be really interesting to check them out again. But so I guess in that sense, in some level, this character makes a reappearance, but not in the main DCAU.
Thank God,
because
I think this might have been my least favorite episode because at least the other bad ones had moments I could laugh at.
You're right. I think at this point we've had bad but entertaining in some level episodes. This is just kind of
even I found a quote which I love from Bruce Timm himself saying how this is one of his least favorite episodes, and he says, "This is what I call a Tuesday episode. It's not what you want to open or end the week with, but it passes the time."
Yeah. Sometimes I do forget that there are a lot of just really flat episodes in here. And I think we have a few more kind of meh ones, but the end of this season though is a lot of really good stuff all packed in together, which is nice. So we got to kind of drudge through a couple weeks of mediocre stuff before we get to the good things. Any other comments on the episode?
I had a couple little moments. The one moment that I enjoyed, which I had to pause just to find it, at the very beginning when there's the newspaper clipping, when Romulus and Milo are in the shack, he holds up a newspaper of Batman kind of saving the zookeeper.
Yeah.
At the bottom it says, photo taken by amateur photographer Bruce Timm.
Oh, I didn't even catch that. That's cool.
And I want to just take a quick second to talk about all the fuck-ups that ACOM did in this episode. And I wrote them all out because it infuriated me so much.
Please.
At the end of the episode, Bullock gets out of the car and he just clips through the door.
Oh, wow.
I guess they might have forgot to put in a frame of him walking around.
Okay.
And so instead he just he opens the door and you see him half of his body's in front, and then the next frame he's just fully in front. And I'm like, fuck you guys. The biggest one, which you might have, if you weren't as tired, you might have even seen this one because it was very, very obvious. Mm-hmm. During the flashback scene, he's in the car with some blonde supermodel.
Oh yeah, it's like an ad.
There's two notes about that. The negative note is you see a third eye popping up on the side of her face for maybe 6 frames.
Oh wow.
Which it's infuriating for me. The thing that I liked about that frame is they basically just straight up copied a Roy Lichtenstein painting.
Oh, cool.
Properly named The Girl in the Car.
Ooh, I'm gonna look this up.
Yeah, very similar color scheme. It's almost the exact same color scheme. And then the one that I didn't notice, I found it in what did they mess up in this episode? They misspelled leopard in the museum.
Did they really?
Yeah. So it shows the elephants,
Jesus.
the wolves, and then the leopards.
Oh, okay. That's not the first time they've done that. In Joker's Wild, so there's a big sign above the car that says "Win the original Joker-mobile," and then there's a smaller sign in the window that he kind of picks up and throws off, and it's just a jumble of words. And clearly, it was meant to say "Win the original Joker-mobile," and just got lost in translation. And it doesn't make any damn sense. I looked up that painting, by the way. You're right. It's the exact copy of the
scene. Yeah,
it's pretty cool. That's a cool painting. I like it. Yeah.
I know. I love Roy Lichtenstein. But yeah, that was it for this trashy episode.
Yeah, I think that basically does it. So I guess Bat-Plug.
I guess so. Huh? I think there was one other thing. I don't remember. It's not important.
All right.
Bat-Plugs. What did I watch this week? Kind of following in the footsteps of Batman the Animated Series, a lot of the same writers went over to X-Men Evolution, which I just started.
That is a great. Have you seen it before?
Yeah, of course I have.
Okay, that is a great show.
Yeah, because it was created by Boyd Kirkland,
who
directed.
I didn't know that.
Who directed Joker's Wild and a couple other really good
that's right. We were
episodes.
making fun of him last week.
Yeah. And yeah, I love it. I watched all of the first season in a day.
Yeah.
Because I forgot how great it is.
I did a rewatch of that sometime in college. It's been a few years now, but that is a great, great show.
Yeah. It's a little too, it gives me more appreciation for this show for being timeless, and it doesn't fit in an era.
Yeah.
Whereas, X-Men Evolution definitely is
it's early 2000s.
It's you almost can't watch it in any other decade because it fits the phrasing they use all the early 2000s slang.
Yeah, all the
which
clothes.
Makes sense because it's supposed to be a teen show.
Yeah.
That's what I was probably 8 when I was because I watched this one live.
Yeah, I did too.
Starting in 2002, and that was what I expected high school to be. Obviously, without the superpowers.
Yeah.
That was my envision of school. That was what I imagined being a teenager was going to be like.
Yeah.
Was I wrong?
Oh, of course. But, I sat down to try and rewatch the 90s X-Men show.
That was going to be my next feat.
I couldn't get through it, to be honest.
Interesting.
I just kind of lost interest because the animation on it's pretty bad and the storytelling is really bad. And I think maybe because I love Evolution so much, and I watched it when it aired originally, and then I rewatched it, and that is so good.
Yeah.
The animation's so great, and the storytelling's great, and the characterization's great.
I think that was probably my introduction to superheroes was through that show.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I mean, I knew about other heroes before then. Like, obviously, you're born knowing who Batman and Superman are at this point.
Yeah.
But I never watched Batman animated until, I was early teens.
That's true, because it did start before you were born.
Same with Batman Beyond and Justice League. They were always the 2-part episodes.
Yeah.
And I always just watched the second part, and so I was so confused. I would always catch it when the second part was airing.
Okay. Yeah.
And so I never watched it because I was so confused.
And some of those are kind of slow, too, to be honest, those 2-part ones.
So X-Men Evolution, that and Teen Titans were definitely the first two shows to introduce me into the superhero. My first comic was an X-Men comic because I loved that show so much.
Do you remember which comic?
It was a bad one. They had this weird anime phase in 2004.
Okay.
I think it was called X-Men Ronin.
Oh, I don't know about that.
It was a very, very odd.
Okay, because around that time would have been Grant Morrison's New X-Men, which then led into Joss Whedon's.
Oh no, it was nothing
X-Men.
that actually played importance.
Because that whole section, that I don't know, it's several years basically that Grant Morrison through Joss Whedon. That whole run is phenomenal. Highly recommend it.
Yeah, the one that I got, it's like a weird anime adaptation where Professor Xavier is like this Yoda figure.
Oh Jesus!
Wolverine lost a hand, so he has metal claws.
Oh wait,
not metal. Like lightsaber claws.
Oh, okay, because he lost a hand. I thought maybe it might have been Age of Apocalypse, which I've never read.
No,
but
yeah, he has basically lightsaber claws. And for being, I think I got it in 5th grade. For being a 5th grader, the cover is so overly sexual. I'm even amazed that my parents let me get that.
So many of them are. They're better now than they used to be.
Yeah.
But a lot of them really are. Real quick, what platform is Evolution on? Is it on
Hulu?
Okay, cool.
Mm-hmm. That and all the original 90s X-Men.
Yeah, that's where I was watching the original 90s, and again, I couldn't do it.
And then other super quick plug, I watched the first episode of Sneaky Pete.
How
the
was
new
it?
Amazon show.
Yeah.
It was fine.
Okay. 'Cause it's produced by Bryan Cranston.
Yes.
Yeah.
It wasn't the story I expected it to be, but I enjoy it.
Yeah. It looked interesting. I like the lead guy, Giovanni Ribisi.
Thank you.
Yeah,
I was not even going to try and pronounce that name. I was going to say the guy from 1,000 Ways to Die in the West. Or A Million Ways to Die in the West.
A Million Ways to Die in the West. I always remember him from Gone in 60 Seconds, which I used to watch all the time as a kid with my dad. It's a car movie. It's a great car movie, too. I stand by that one, actually. It's pretty solid. It's not really good. It's not really bad. It's somewhere in the middle. It's not even a good bad movie. But
I think I'll give it a couple more episodes, see how I feel about it.
Nice.
What do you have to plug?
I've been watching this for a while, but I've basically caught up now. It's Lucifer.
Okay.
Which Idris
Elba?
No, that's Luther. So Lucifer is...
guess who's been mistaking those two for the past 5 years?
Very, very different. No, Lucifer is based off of the character Lucifer Morningstar from Sandman, Neil Gaiman's Sandman, which I have not read, to be fair. But it's on a network, so it's a cop procedural. But it's basically he's the devil, and he now lives in L.A., and he wants to punish people. So he ends up working with the LAPD to track down crimes and punish people.
Okay.
And it is about as good as the premise that I've just described, but I will say of it, it's actually pretty fun, and Tom Ellis, who plays Lucifer, is just super charming and funny.
Okay.
And it kind of all hinges on him, and the supporting character is really good. It's, I'd say, in the same vein as a CW sort of show, in that sense that they don't take themselves crazy seriously, but they're fun. I think this is a little bit better than a lot of CW shows. I think it's a little more adult. It's a little less melodramatic. But it's a lot of fun. Weirdly enough, my mom recommended I watch it.
Oh, good.
And I normally don't watch Network because Network's usually pretty bad. I like this a lot.
I hope. Sorry, one more thing to plug. Speaking of CW, I'm so upset with myself for forgetting this. I watched the first episode of Riverdale.
As did I.
What did you think?
It was fine.
I was unnecessarily obsessed with it.
I will say this: CW, they know their market. They know how to make really, for what they do, it's really engaging stuff. I mean, it's like soap opera-y teen melodrama, but they are excellent at it.
They hooked me immediately.
Their shows are straight up addictive. Like, I still miss Flash and Arrow and all those every once in a while. Like, it was too many shows to watch, but I will give them credit. I think as a network, they put out the most consistently entertaining stuff.
Right.
No, I liked it a lot. The problem is I watched it on the CW app, and there's so many fucking commercials because I don't have cable.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
But
yeah, I think the 3 live shows that I think I'm going to watch this season are Flash, Riverdale, and then the Superpowers show that starts next week.
Is it Powerless?
Thank you, Powerless.
Yeah, the comedy set. There's a lot of talent in that I really like. I mean, Alan Tudyk.
It's Alan Tudyk. How can you not?
I know it's him, and it's
Daniel.
Daniel Pudi.
Yeah, thank you, from Community.
Yeah, and Ron Funches. I fucking love.
How can you not be excited for the show?
The talent on that is incredible, but I have no interest in the concept. I don't.
I'll watch the first episode.
Watch the first episode. It's like if you listed all those people, I'd be, that sounds interesting. And I've watched trailers and clips, and it looks bad.
Yeah, that's fine. I'm still gonna watch it.
Yeah, but
it's not gonna be the first show I watch that's just straight up bad.
No, but I do have to agree with you. I did like Riverdale a lot. I think what's gonna be the turning point for me is I have to decide if I like it enough to have to sit down and deal with an extra 20 minutes of CW self promotion every time I watch it.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a strain.
That's gonna be hard, but
yeah,
I recommend it for everyone.
It is pretty good. Yeah, I think that's it.
I think so.
I don't know if there's any more random ramblings we can pack into this episode.
No, we covered it all. We talked about DC news. Got my Kim Possible plug.
Yeah. I'm gonna have the longest list of like references when I go back and edit this.
I hope so,
because I use those like right up the episode description as I re-listen to it and I edit it. It's gonna be such a goddamn long list.
It'll be a good one,
but it's good. It gives me more stuff to work with. So, but yeah, I think that does it. So we are at Timm Talk Pod on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram.
Yep.
I'm at Lordifer on all of those same things.
I'm at Cameron.Dexter on all those things.
Oh, he got it.
I got
One go this time. And, of course, we are part of the Nerdist School Network. So go check out nerdistschool.com to see stuff about shows they do and the improv classes and sketch classes, that sort of stuff.
Yeah, check out the other podcasts.
Yeah.
We always plug Trevor's Crisis of Two podcasts.
Podcast of Two Worlds.
That one.
Yeah. Ooh,
I got the other comic.
Yeah. And, well, I guess it's on the books now, so we can actually officially announce it. Well, I guess it was already put up on Facebook, too. But, yeah. We're teaming with Trevor's podcast and then Novice and Frank. And we're going to do an episode all about the Lego Batman movie.
Yeah, it'll from when this comes out, it'll probably be
another week, 2 weeks.
Yeah, a week or two after.
The more I see that movie, I'm actually super excited for it.
Yeah. Have you listened to Novice and Frank yet?
Guiltily, I have to admit, I have not.
I really enjoyed it.
Yeah?
If people are interested in like the more, we dabble in the history of some of these episodes. They really know their stuff with the history of comics, and they don't just go into like characters, but they'll go into whole like story origins and kind of reasons behind why the industry does the things that it does. It's very, very fascinating.
Oh, cool.
They bounce around a lot. I'm excited to pick their brains when I meet them.
Yeah. Okay, I will go listen to that, which I should definitely do before we all team up on our crossover podcast. But I'm super excited for that. So look out for that soon. It'll be our first bonus episode.
Yeah.
So, but I think now we're officially done.
Yeah.
I don't think there's anything else.
All right. Yeah, we'll talk to you guys next week.
All right, bye.
The Nerdist School Network. For class and show information, visit nerdistschool.com.